Yeah.
You know, it's sponsored by the people. I pay taxes, and I'm an Aboriginal artist, and I would like to see survey shows of Aboriginal artists that live in the state of New South Wales that belong to their bloodlines shown at that gallery. That has not happened.
You have not seen that happen?
No, it hasn't happened. So largely those things I think are remiss in terms of curatorial presentation, and you know, it doesn't make me any friends when I say that, because people are very powerful.
Yeah.
And they will do what they want to do because they're in positions of power. So, you know, I'm just one of those people who flicks the page every now and then and says, what about this part of the story? Wouldn't we like to be represented? I'm actually doing a PhD at the moment, and it's really about the lack of representation, particularly for New South Wales Aboriginal women. But it illustrates through research that all major institutions in every state and territory in this country buy from their own area with the funds that their taxpayers pay for, except New South Wales.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder why that is.
Well, there's something for you to research.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
So it is very interesting because it's and that's principally why places like Boomalli are incredibly important, because we give people a go.
Yeah.
You know, we assist, we present, we're there for conversations, we're there to help them across that hurdle of insecurity, and you know, hopefully the cooperative will continue to thrive in the next few years, because we need to show.
You guys are coming to your 30th anniversary.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's
So,
incredible.
yeah, on the 3rd of November. So we've got that's what we're currently organising now.
Yeah. How exciting.
Big show.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know a couple of our students are going to go to it. So
Yeah,
good.
We're
keen for it.
We've got some cards there. I'll give them to you.
Great. I'll take them to the class.
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
So, have you experienced any problems when curating Aboriginal
Constantly.
art? Constantly, yeah, I think.
I think obviously, you know, with anything complex in any world, and especially now, like with the digital economy, there is a sense of democratisation around the fact that people can actually access artwork from all over the world, which is true. But then there are a lot of things around reproductions, copyrights. Like, people don't even know that when they sell a painting that they own the copyright for 75 years after their death.
Yeah.
So it becomes a property right for, you know, diminished families, and a lot of Aboriginal people live on meagre incomes.
Yeah.
But when the person dies, obviously, if they've got some acclaim during their lifetime, then the work is worth something, so it becomes a property right.
Yeah.
And those sorts of complexities around curating are part of the educational impetus that we put here to make sure all of our artists are informed of that. Have you made a will?
That's wonderful.
Yeah, have you done this? Have you done that? And we do all of our license agreements through Arts Law, so we offer a best practice for the Aboriginal artists that we exhibit here.
Yeah.
So
it's good you keep people informed, because I know a lot of artists out there like have been ripped off, or their work has been ripped off by like someone will buy their artwork.
Well, the Namatjira, look at that.
Yeah.
I mean, they just got the Namatjira copyright back, and
yeah.
it's like, good grief, you know, the guy died a pauper, and he got to visit the Queen, but died a pauper in his own homelands. I mean, there's something absolutely morally bankrupt about that. But luckily, that's been reversed after decades of them trying, and a lot of the family, you know, will benefit from that as it goes forward. You know?
Yeah, as they should. You know.
So these are things I think, and I just think, you know, getting people to open the door to new artists is always really difficult, because they just stick with the routine star system, and that can be a bit problematic. I think there's always really good artists out there, so like I like to lift the lid on that, and very, very much about liberating artists and giving them an opportunity. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I have a question about that involves the MCA and the Art Gallery of New South Wales. So the MCA and the Art Gallery of New South Wales have now integrated Aboriginal artworks into their permanent exhibitions. Aboriginal works are now on display with other Australian modernist and contemporary works, rather than segregated into their own section. Do you agree with this more, and what would you think it represents? Would you want the works to be segregated or separated with, like, contemporary?
No, it's a complex question, isn't it? So, largely the segregation that occurred happened not only in the academic field. When they used to do catalogues, they put the Australian art first and the Aboriginal art back towards the index.
Yeah.
So I would have thought that that was, and I always protested that. I sat on the board of the
Yeah.
National Gallery for 5 years, and I protested the structure of the catalogues at that stage in 1987
Yep.
to 92. So that sort of, I mean, I think the platform from which you work from to increase and get a greater appreciation for all art in Australia is, of course, Australian artists, our Aboriginal artists are Australian,
Yeah.
obviously,
Yeah.
under the what is Australian art.
Yeah.
I think as long as we don't get lost in the, I mean, when you think about it, you know, Aboriginal art started being appreciated in the late 80s.
Mm-hmm.
You know, before then it was classified as primitive or naive
Ethnographic
or
even.
ethnographic,
Yep.
anthropological. It was in museums. It wasn't really put out into major galleries. So you're looking at, what, 57 years, you know,
Yeah.
or 60 years. It's nothing in 60,000 years.
Yeah.
So I would have thought that there should have been the integration. I think is important because the value of the non-Aboriginal artists who have come here to exhibit and are Australian. It is about valuing the national repertoire of
Shows equity as well,
practicing artists.
Yeah.
So, but I do think that there's relevant ways to get us up to speed with, you know, a lot of the Australian artists that have been exhibiting now in major galleries, like for a very long time, like John Olsen. Like, you know,
Yeah.
there should be so many Aboriginal artists on the same
Level.
level
Yep.
as him, and so, you know, that engaging with the, you know, non-Aboriginal male as the stellar moment in Australian art has got to change.
Yeah,
There are
absolutely.
brilliant women artists, both Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal,
Yep.
who have been treated with disdain by organisations and directors in this country and directors of major museums and galleries, and that has to change.
Yeah.
And so, you know, largely, you know, I'm sure as I get older I'll be doing protest exhibitions with women from, you know, Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal women saying, are we invisible, guys? Like, you
Yeah.
know, who are we?
Yeah.
You know, we're not Harry Potter in the invisible cloak. We
Yeah.
actually do exist.
Yeah.
So I think valuing the journey of any artist is obviously the penultimate moment in knowing your country. And I think the exhibition of works by great artists should be democratic, and I believe there should be equal and fair representation by women and men in that.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of that's my take out.
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you
Good.
so much.
Thank you.